For those of us who, because I think when Star Search came out, I was probably in Nigeria or still back in England, and I guess it's equivalent to today's American Idol or X Factor or America's Got Talent. How
Yeah.
big was it back in the day? For those of us who probably don't know about Star Search, back in when you before you audition, was it massive, or was it just for kids, or what was it?
Star Search was, yeah, exactly like what X Factor and those programs are today for everyone. That was all we had. It was that type of um, show where people showcased everything. I mean, they didn't just do music. I remember at one point they had like an acting portion on there. Then they had the folks model, they had comedians. Like, yeah, people were obsessed with Star Search. And I just remember we would watch it as a family.
Mhm.
And obviously, even then, I didn't know how possible it was for me to get on that show. And at that point, my dad had all these different relationships with so many different people in the community that one guy, this guy named Jeff Isaacs, who bless his heart, he passed a few years ago. Um, but he had a studio in his home. And so my dad started bringing my brother Dino and myself over there, and we would like write songs. He would help us lay these tracks, and I would just start recording things.
Wow.
Still not with the intention of we had a real plan. My like, we're gonna take these demos, we're going to a record label, and like it wasn't even like that. It was for me, it was um it was just fun. Like I had so much fun doing it. I would do it after school because my mom was just like, when she's done with other activities, yes, you can go play at the studio. You can record songs, whatever. And my dad would sit there and, coach me through it. And we took it very seriously, but it was a lot of fun. And then it got to a point where I had a few songs and we're still watching Star Search. And my dad's like, you're going to get on Star Search. And we're
Wow.
like, yeah. Right. I was like, Dad, that is like dream the impossible dream. There's Star Search. And the next thing I know, my dad's like runs into this guy who was my first manager from Kansas City. He actually ran into my dad or hearing him perform somewhere in a club somewhere and was interested in him
Okay.
as a musician. And this guy, my first manager, Stan, he actually had managed the Ozark Mountain Daredevils. So like these 70s groups
Okay.
were huge. And Steely Dan, like he was
Wow.
involved in their careers. And then he also had like this coffee house, and Steve Martin in the beginning of his career used to go there and do stand up.
Okay.
So he was well connected, but when he met my dad, he was like, "Oh my gosh, your voice is amazing. Like you need to be recording." My dad said, "Nope, but I know someone that you would be interested in." He's like, "I don't think it's for me anymore, but I know, but I have someone that I'd like you to meet." And he's like, "Who?" He's like, "Well, it's one of my kids." And he's like, "Oh, so she's like 20, 25 years old?" My dad's like, "She's 10." Like, excuse me? Yeah, she's 10. He's like, what am I supposed to do with the 10-year-old? My dad's like, you listen to her voice, you'll understand. And he played him the demo, and then he was like very impressed. And he was like, okay, well, let me at least meet her and let me figure this out. And so he met me, and then we all talked about, he's like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to be on Star Search. Like, let's start there. If you can make that happen, let's do Star. And yeah, we sent in my demo. I even created a video that I started calling like the local libraries to see if I could utilize their facilities to shoot like a video with friends and some family. And it became this, it just became this whole thing where we were then trying to find songs, which is now it's easy to do that. You can find a whole lot of karaoke style songs, internet, and sing to. I was limited. There was Missing You by Diana Ross. It had to be a Diana Ross.
Okay.
I found an instrumental to that. And then Do Me Baby, Melissa Morgan, the Prince song. And How Will I Know? Because at that point I was falling in love with Whitney Houston. So I performed those 3 songs in the basement of a library. And I sent that video into Star Search. And that's how I got on Star Search, because then they sent me a letter back and they were like, we'd like to have you on our show. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, there's no way I'm about to get on a plane and go to go to Hollywood and be on Star Search. Like, what? That was a lot.
Wow. I mean, what was it like? I mean, getting the letter though, did you think that's it? Dreams over, I've got the dream I wanted, or was it a big celebration?
I didn't even know. It was very overwhelming. It felt like, you still feel like you're in a dream.
Yeah.
It's just hard to believe because you're still going, oh my God, like really? They actually opened up my package and they watched my video? Like, what? So it was very hard to wrap my little brain around that, and my family. No one could believe that was happening. So
wow.
It was surreal.
Do you become an instant star locally once they see you on TV?
It felt, well, my dad had a lot to do with that because he would always do too much.
Too much.
Too much. He obviously, with him having a bar and being, the social butterfly he was, that he was always telling everybody, like, my daughter's going to be on Star Search and we're going to California and all this stuff. And we went out there. We even it was my first time going to Disneyland. Like, we planned this whole trip and it was crazy. So yeah, no, after it came on, we, went to the local newspaper, talked to the local news station, and they ended up putting it on the news, like, local girl gets on Star Search. And so everyone in the community started hearing about it so that they could watch it. And it felt like everyone watched it. Because every time I went somewhere, they're like, we saw you on Star Search. And, it was wild. Like, good luck, because the nice thing is I was on towards the end of the season.
Okay.
So I didn't have to start at the beginning and try to beat out a whole lot of people. I was at the very tail end. So it was really competing against Allison Porter, who was in Curly Sue, the actress. And we were both at the end of the season. And then when we kept tying, we had to go challenge a third contestant. And then that's how I ended up winning, because then I essentially beat both of them out and won. So yeah, it was nerve-wracking though.
How was this like seeing the Ed McMahon, or was it?
It was Ed McMahon, yeah.
What was it like? I mean, he's on TV, he's a legend, sort of and I see he seemed very warm to the contestants, especially kids. But what was it like seeing him, the legend as he was back?
Oh, it was wild. It's like he was the sweetest person in the world. He was so kind. He's like a gentle giant because he was as tall as my dad, and Yeah, just the nicest man. I was so excited to meet him. And even in my parents' home, my mom blew up this massive photograph of me, Ed McMahon, and my dad from Star Search.
Wow.
And yeah, it was very cool.
I never participated in that kind of
and somewhere in between
us for even loving us, on which I didn't miss you.
What was it like growing up?
She's still making an impact on 4 houses down.
I have a couple of pieces.
trying to get this one and that one.
That works for you, but just for me,
No, okay.
They understand what those boys and men all
Play it.
I mean, I love all different genres.